Like them hustle sote, they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over Naira. Still them talk say, make we off mind. But thank God say, my ego don't come. So my people make you ladder. Oh, yo, yo, my ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My people make we shout. Oh, yo, yo, my ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses. Oh, yo, yo, my ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My ego die the political. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. This one not they off in mind. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my egun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my egun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say, make we no talk. But thank God say.
Hello there. Please let me know if the audio is perfect before I get into all of this. I miss you too. Thank you so much for joining me from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun Live. Loud and clear. Good morning to you. Good afternoon to you. And good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. It's Mayegun Live. Share the broadcast. Subscribe if you haven't. Like the broadcast. Then sit back and read the caption as well as the description. Those are the 4 first steps you have to take. Please do so. Thank you so much for joining me. After back and forth, hide and seek, INEC of Mahmoud finally opened its door for Obi and other political parties to come and access the materials used in their 2023 presidential election, right? That's part of what we are talking tonight. On the other hand, I did tell you, if you are an ardent follower of Mayegun's Diary Political, you will remember this. I did tell you that they will rig you. But I was asking, what would you do when you get rigged? A lot of you told me on this platform that when you get to that bridge, you will cross it. But I did tell you that once they rig you, if it becomes so obvious, and it should lead to protest or something, they will begin the conversation or the talk. They call it the government of national unity. It is another decoy put in place by the establishment who write the rules of your elections. Like when you go to the casino, you can't really win against the house. When you bet against the system always finds a way to rig itself and win. I said this many times, right? As we speak, Kolu, Tinubu's advocates, who have been unable to explain why 8.7 million people voted for a presidential candidate and he was declared the president-elect. Yet, the entire country, in fact, the whole world, just went into straight mourning. right? They themselves are finding it difficult to explain why. So to save all of this, like I also said, that a lot of people are more worried about post-election wahala. How would this generation of Gen Z react to their first rigging experience in the hands of the establishment? Is it going to be chaotic? Would there be protest? Would there be like breakdown of law? Would there be revolution? This was the last clue of their plan that became a riddle nobody could solve. And that's exactly what happened. Immediately after the rigging was being perpetuated, people were already mobilizing, riling themselves up. Then Peter Obi came. He said, calm. All of you should calm down. And just like that, everywhere just calm. I am saying all of this because I still believe that the trouble that they envisaged, that seems to have been surmounted, is just a can that they kick down the road. As we speak, there are evidence and confirmed pressure, truly, that they are proposing different things to make sure that all of you, the obedient, you are going to be worn out, discouraged, and at the end of the day, divided. It's already happening, in case if you have not been paying attention. But however, there are evidence which Obi himself confirmed. And what are they proposing? INEC may not be able to actually prove that Kolu scored 8.7 million. Atif could score 6.9 million. And that Obi scored 6.1 million. They can't prove any of that. So opening their doors today for almost 60 lawyers, sons and all of them, representing obedient, all of you obedient, people still believe, by the way, that INEC has reformatted the beavers already, which means they probably have destroyed all the evidence. Now, it will probably take forever to prove in Nigeria courts that INEC actually rigged the election. When INEC is the one with the evidence, that could actually be either proved or disproved, and they are destroying them. And in Nigerian courts, right, they don't really look at evidence, okay? Their judges and all of them look for technicalities or something to eventually throw it out. But there is so much fear, especially something that surrounds that Obi himself, which has made it impossible for the winners to really celebrate. A concern that a lot of people behind the scene are now proposing what they call government of national unity. Let me explain that to you. In 1999, the two popular parties back then were PDP and AD. So AD was able to clear almost, was able to clear the Southwest, right? And then Obasanjo, who came from Southwest. Northern Nigeria, the result came, Obasanjo, PDP and all that. Eastern Nigeria, PDP, 90%, 80%, 99%, you know what I mean? For Obasanjo. But being a Yoruba man, he saw himself as someone who has no real home credibility. If the Yorubas have shown total rejection of PDP, even when Obasanjo is their presidential candidate and their son, now to buy legitimacy, somehow he invented what they called government of national unity. So that would be like an extension of hands of fellowship to the opposition and say, listen, you don't have to challenge this case. You don't have to, you know what I mean? We can all actually come together. If you want to serve Nigeria, okay, I'll give you your own party. I'll give you so numbers of political appointments. I'll give yours this, and we can work together. So if you have any case you want to put up against my election, you can drop them, okay, until the next one. So as a PDP government of Obasanjo, you had APP that later became ANPP, representatives inside Obasanjo's government. You had AD, Alliance for Democracy, senior party members as members of Obasanjo's government. With that, somehow, Obasanjo believed that it will help him, okay, to railroad his own way into the political art of the Southwesterners. But he didn't stop there. It went as far as cutting a deal with some of these governors that eventually cost them their own seats. But for the time being, Obasanjo was able to, feel like all Nigeria, they are with him. So if you choose to fight him, then it is easier to say you are just a troublemaker. So it worked for him. And they did the same thing during Yar'Adua time. Political appointment and all that. So that's exactly what APC, Egbekegbe, are proposing now. They are not also relenting on the propaganda of discrediting everything, or gaslighting everything, obedient, Obi himself and all that. That is going on steady. But behind the scene, if it is the record of Obi that they know, he is likely not going to give up. And the more this younger generation who are so interested are going to continue to expose everything that happens, even the judiciary that has become more dependent, not independent in this case. The judiciary will be put on trial. And just like Obedient and Obi and his movement have been able to put the entire establishment in Nigeria to trial. They put INEC on trial. They put APC, the ruling party, on trial. They put almost everyone that was so comfortable with the status quo of Nigeria until now. They put a lot of them on trial. And so far, so good. They have been more exposed, not to the older generation, but to the younger generation who are so alarmed. Like, is this how they have been doing this all this while? So putting the judiciary on trial will be probably the final nail. Now, at that point, right, they believe, apart from casting the shadow of illegitimacy on Tinubu, wherever he goes, he's never going to be seen as president. I mean, they will kind of, accord the office, something like, okay, he's the president, okay, and so. But it will take extra dictatorial, forceful actions to actually activate or implement whatever he says. Now, if Obi continues that way, and this younger generation continue this way, in this trajectory, Tinubu will be the worst ever president in Nigeria, the most hated and the most despised. In fact, it will be an utmost impostor. Now, what that means is that even those within his rank as president, the military, the police, talk about the entire defense, they will treat him with much scorn. Again, whatever you are seeing with the institutions in Nigeria right now will be a joke to what you are still going to see. Now, how can they curb all of that? Because they are going to need their army and their police ready to actually clamp down on this generation of rebellious Gen Z. They are not admitting that this whole thing actually cut across tribe, religion, and regions as we speak. So they will need a lot of force to suppress. They will need a lot of propaganda. They will need so much than they've ever done to suppress what is actually cooking. To kind of avoid all of that behind the scene, the pressure is on the man that they declared third. Even Atiku, they don't seem to worry about him. Meanwhile, Atiku is in the middle. He is the second. What Obi is going to demand, they don't know. Is he going to demand for a recount? Is he going to demand that it should be declared? So when they ask him, it was kind of philosophical today. Listen, if you really want to understand Nigeria politics that beats all logics, the complexity, and so many other big grammar they might have used to confuse you in order to make it hard for you to understand Nigeria. If you are Mayegun's Diary Political, and indeed you are here, at least with your open mind, because on Mayegun's Diary Political, right, we have Northerners, we have Southerners, we have Christians, we have Muslims, we have those who don't believe in any religion at all, and other religions and other beliefs too, right? So we have almost all tribes that are plugging in on Mayegun's Diary Political, because the platform is all about the political, the political dysfunction that has brought about a dysfunctional country and a divided country, making you understand that very well. And also to understand why is Nigeria not working? Why has Nigeria devoid all solution? On Mayegun's Diary Political, you will understand why. Also, why are some Nigerians so angry with Nigeria? What brought about this rage, anger, and disconnection? A lot of Nigerians seems to hate Nigeria. On Mayegun's Diary Political, you will meet those Nigerians here. You will understand why they have been so disconnected with Nigeria. The marginalization, the inequality, the unfairness in the system, the impunity, the injustice. All of these are listed. I've listed, right? Respect no tribe, no religion, no region, and nobody. We are all victims of all of this. But you know what makes it more kind of complex is that Nigerians, they love their oppressors differently. A lot of us have never experienced good governance in our lives. Yes, millions of us have never really experienced what real governance is, or true leadership is, or responsible, accountable leadership. We've never experienced them. We've heard a lot about things before some of us were born. So therefore, we have always been subjected, right, to this kind of, oppressive system, regime after regime, system of government after system of government. This is the life many of us actually were born into. So therefore, a lot of us have accepted it as this is our life. It's just whatever you can make out of it. So they have chosen their own oppressors to love or hate. Do you get that? So that is why when you condemn PDP, you will see Nigerians that are going to abuse, attack, and even vilify you. Because somehow they will tell you their PDP is better than APC. Now, when you talk about the APC or exposes what APC and the rest of their government are doing and how much this is having direct impact on them and contributing to mostly what they are experiencing in their lives every day, you will see those that will tell you, shut up your mouth. Can you do any better? So they love their oppressors differently. For years, generally, their excuse was that there is no other alternative to this oppressive, corrupt, and terror-filled political party, APC, PDP. They will tell you, they give excuses. None of them is viable. None of them is strong enough. That, we just have to manage them. If there is any other one now, people will, you know what I mean? Then shockingly, surprisingly, after years of never seen before suffering, young people who are now much more exposed to information that their own parents would pay fortune to access in their time. Now they have all of this information in their palms. So they are now asking questions. This has now brought about an unexpected, a national movement that has become disobedient. It is collection of the frustrated Nigerians, young and old. That's their genesis. But you know something? The comfortable slaves, the sophisticated morons who are comfortable with their own slave masters, they were those who now ganged up to gaslight those who have never done them anything whatsoever that actually contributed to where they are today. So it is now the comfortable slaves in Nigeria versus the tired slaves in Nigeria. Now, if you then begin to pay attention to their politics, this is where you will understand better that their oppressors are powerful because they have kept them divided and powerless. But because of bad leadership, right? Even the bad leaders themselves, they are not really finding it easy. When you are marginalized for too long, when you are oppressed for too long, when you are being, when you are being killed for too long, and you can see those who put you in this state, right, caring lesser and lesser and lesser, that then will bring about agitation, revolution, protests, disagreement, and ironically, Nigeria is practicing democracy where all of these displeasures are all welcomed. But because Nigeria is not really a democratic country, like I said, the people didn't even choose it. Do you get? So, what happened? They unleashed terror on them to suppress those agitation, those disagreements and all that. But do you know what actually really feels sad about Nigeria with what they have done to so many of you today is that in Nigeria today, they reward terrorists and they punish activists. Activists are considered more dangerous when they tell people to stand up and demand for what is rightly theirs. In the democratic Nigeria, it is considered a treason when you pick up arms and you can massacre as many people as you can. You are not considered as that. In fact, you are likely going to get a red carpet with bags of money awaiting you at the end of it. This is what Nigeria has become. Now, as disjointed, as divided, as corrupted as Nigeria has become, right? The establishment is still worried because for the first time, something that they never really planned for is about to what? To sink them. And it is not just you, the obedience and everything you stand for, that they are sort of afraid of. It is because they didn't plan for this. There was no preparation for it. And because of this, they are making more mistakes that are getting you even more angrier, And they just don't know what to do. So it's more or less like a carrot and stick. They are looking for legitimacy. They are also trying to shut you up from asking them to account for how they became president-elect. So if you want to understand this whole thing, that in Nigeria, they will tell you 1 + 1 in Nigeria politics is not 2. You know why is that? Because people have accepted the manipulation, the fraud, the corruption, the violence that follows the process of selecting those who will lead them. When you elect thieves and you give them the key and code to your treasury and treasure, should you go about and start crying when they then empty them? This is one of the reasons why I said the process is what many of us are not looking into. If you look at the process that produces those that are presented to you as those that are going to fix Nigeria, there lies all you need to know, that you should never be part of it or waste your time doing anything. But whatever we said or haven't said, the obedient have proved the point. And as of today, they are the threats that the establishment is not bold enough to admit to. As if they want them to make more mistakes. That's exactly what this whole thing will end up as. LP, which is Labour Party, they have signaled to their members, and I believe to the obedient, that any moment from now, they will be occupying all of the offices of INEC in Nigeria. And, I don't know, until they present or give them the access to the materials used in the 2023 elections, right? I mean, presidential elections. So today, a team of lawyers were ushered in. I'll let you see the entrance. And the credit for this clip goes to the channel's television, okay? Please tell them. Yeah, give them that credit. However, let me see if I have the clip on. Mind you, there are so much I'm going to share with you tonight, especially, well, I'm going to be taking them one by one, okay? So let's kind of start it from where Obi himself was talking about this today. And I think we'll take that from the Arise television, okay? So this is us starting now. Take a leap.
Resort to ethnic, religious, and be shouting, oh, Peter campaign on religion, oh, Peter campaign on, but they are the ones doing it. I've never in any way told anybody in any church, in any gathering, vote for me based on this. I've said it, do not vote for Peter to be based because of his brother is from the southeast. People voted for me on the issue of somebody being young and it's laughable. It's actually, we should actually stop people from being old and contest. If I have my way, if we can.
All right, I'm glad you talk about to remain prayerful and to remain calm. And the reason I say this is that some prominent Nigerians, church leaders, traditional rulers, and high net worth stakeholders are saying that though there are several infractions, the outcome of the election is the way God wants it, and it should be allowed. So on one hand, you are saying remain prayerful and calm, but we'll still go to court. Others are saying for the peace of Nigeria, remain prayerful, calm, and accept this as God's will. What do you have to say to that?
Well, you know, I'm very respectful to prominent Nigerians, especially church leaders, traditional rulers, and all that. And I remain very respectful to them. And I think they should be respected for what they represent in our society. But I disagree with them. What they're actually preaching is the problem of Nigeria. The problem of Nigeria is accepting wrongdoing, accepting what is unacceptable. That is using God's name in vain. That's not what God said. God said, do not use my name in vain. So what they're saying is not God's wish. It is not God's plan for Nigeria. So why don't we accept that the 133 million Nigerians who are poor is God's wish? Why don't we accept that 95 million Nigerians living in absolute poverty is God's wish? It is God's wish that you don't have electricity. It is God's wish that our children are kidnapped. It is God's wish that we have collapsed primary health care, leading us to be the country with the highest infant mortality. It is everything happening is God's way, not what God says. No. God's wish is when you do the right thing. And in the end, it is not. This election was predicated and planned. And we have clear laws about the conduct of the election. If it was followed, if these results were uploaded from the booth, polling units, like they said, to the server and everything, we won't be here. We won't be talking about it. It would have been concluded in a matter of hours without anybody arguing about it. But it is not God's wish that you do the wrong thing. It is not God's wish that you go and rob a train and make money and start sharing it. It is not God's. This is what is killing the country. People come here, take public money, and then go and give it to people in the church and treasure, and they say it's God's wish, and start giving them title in the church, title in this. That is what we are fighting. That's what we want to stop. We want God's wish to be truly God's wish. And that is when we do the right things, and God gives his blessing. What we are doing now is why they come. What do you tell the young ones growing up? That it's God's wish that you steal? That it's God's wish that you conduct a wrong election? So tell me the difference between those of us who are doing this and the armed robbers. What is the difference between us and the trained robbers? Let's be sincere with ourselves. That's why it's God's wish that somebody came to your station and said he knows a governor who has 22 billion naira stacked, and nobody's asking about him. But we are stopping young people who are carrying computer and questioning them and calling them names. That's not God's wish. God wishes something better. What I want is God to allow us to do the right things so we can start building a better country for our children.
All right. So, that same day reaffirming the fact that, yeah, people are coming or saying that maybe it's God's wish, only God, you know what I mean? And so many other things that they are pushing to get him to back down. But it's like, I'm not going to back down, right? Now, here is another part to what he had to say. I want to add them together so that I can, move on. Him and Ruben Abati. The same, this clip as well, the credit goes to the Arise Television. If you want to watch the whole interview, I think it's more than an hour. You can go onto the Arise Television on YouTube, okay? And you can see the whole interview. But I just want to share this part with you. Then I will move on. And the diary. Here we go.
And for making Southern presidency possible, you are his hero. Festus Keyamo, spokesperson of the APC, also waded into the matter and said, in fact, that you have served your purpose in this electoral process, that the purpose that you were to serve was to help make Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu president-elect. That's his own reading of it. He says, because without you stopping the PDP in their traditional states, Bola Tinubu will not have emerged as president-elect. Number 3, Reno Omokri, who is a spokesperson for the People's Democratic Party, says, well, APC may have rigged, but that Mr. Peter Obi was the perfect rigger in that election, and that you rigged in the Southeast, that he's surprised that a candidate will be reporting 97% of the votes from certain states of the Federation. Of course, Atiku Abubakar, presidential candidate of the PDP himself, had admitted that your leaving the PDP hurt his chances in that election. What do you say to these general comments on your presidential race?
Well, Ruben, my first reaction generally is that I contested the election. I wasn't contesting it to help anybody to win. And I continue to say that even the declared winner did not win. You might have been declared by whatever means, but you've not won the election. Ruben, to win is to win the people. Democracy is government of the people, by the people, for the people. That means if you must win the people. But if you don't win the people, you've not won. And I can tell you, the last election, the declared person did not win. However, that is what we're challenging. The rascality is what we're challenging. On the various comments, let me use the issue of Reno or mockery. Ordinarily, I won't comment on anything because I only comment on or reply fellow presidential candidates, not their spokesperson, because they're not contesting. But since something that I have never participated or been part of was mentioned, I need to reply it. Ruben, I have never, and I will never, ask anybody to add one vote for me that doesn't rightfully belong to me. I've never paid anybody to rig election for me. Go all over Nigeria and ask anybody in INEC, the so-called EOs, resident commissioners, everybody, whether any of them have met Peter Obi saying do this. Go and ask police, army, anybody. Never. They are referees. It is their job to do their job. I've never. This show where I got 97% is in Anambra State. Reno Mokri forgot that in 2019, go and check the records, where PDP had the highest vote was in Anambra State. When in 2019, when I was vice presidential candidate to Atiku, our vote in Anambra State was 95 point something, almost 96%. That's where PDP got the highest vote, because I was on that ballot. And they know me. Ruben, I live in Onitsha. If you want to know whether I get 95% in Anambra State, come and go to Anambra State with me. I don't need police. When I come out, you see the reaction of the people. In fact, I'm actually surprised I didn't get 100%. I'm telling you, because I don't know who will be voting against me in Anambra State. In the Southeast, it's a similar situation. People know me. People know what I stand for. People know I've kept to my promises. People know I've kept what I've said. It's a simple thing. It's like people go about and say, oh, he got votes in Lagos because of the Igbos. Remember how many Igbos live in Lagos? I got more votes from the indigenous in Lagos than those who are, you can call visitors. Are the Igbos in Nasarawa? Are the Igbos in Plateau? Are the Igbos in Abuja? In Rivers, where you know that the governor came out against me, is everything. I said, if the real vote of Rivers were counted, Ruben, I won. I have over 50-something% of the vote. The other two parties were sharing the other. And it was, I won in Asoro. So, will you say it's rigging? Which machinery do I have to rig? I have no councillor, I have no local government chairman, know this thing. I'm not in control of police. I don't even know any DPO. So which machinery will I use to rig? How will you do? They are the ones who I believe in this. What they are doing is what I'm trying to change. So those who say you have satisfied what I came for are part of the people we're trying to change.
All right. Okay, so let's talk.
Did you hear that? So he answered, in fact, intelligently, the propaganda. I mean, if an obedient want to phrase what Obi have said so far, they will tell you that Obi destroyed APC propaganda within just 2 minutes, 120 seconds. When he asked the question that, are there more Igbos in Lagos than non-Igbos, than the indigenes of Lagos? Are there more Igbos? Are there more Igbos in Nasarawa? Do you have more Igbos in Abuja and inside Aso Rock? Are there more Igbos in Plateau than the people there? So, the idea of it is Igbo this, Igbo that, that's what he said about that. There is even more. Just before I give my own overall, I don't think you are kind of tired. Are you tired? No, you shouldn't, because we haven't even started. It's going to be a long night. So, you can take a moment, or while you are watching this, like the broadcast, share it, copy the link and send it to people that should be probably join while we watch this other part. They turned propaganda on a young man that they have now found to be the beneficiary of the obedient movement and their wave, especially in Lagos. They haven't learnt anything. So far, they are pushing the propaganda, and they had to ask him about it too. Listen.
Resort to ethnic, religious, and be shouting, oh, Peter campaign on religion, oh, Peter campaign on, but they are the ones doing it. I've never in any way told anybody in any church, in any gathering, vote for me based on this. I've said it, do not vote for Peter to be based because of his brother is from the southeast. People voted for me on the issue of somebody being young and moody. It's laughable. It's actually, we should actually stop people from being old and contest. If I have my way, if we can retire our bishops at 70, retire our professors at 70, Supreme Court at 70, it's time we put age for this our politics so that people can also retire. Because there's a reason why we say at 70, 75, people should go and rest. So let us, is these people that are saying it that are bringing confusion? Age of 40 is age where people are becoming or became president in America, the world biggest economy, 25 trillion. And you're just 400 billion. And you're talking about age. That is the right age, the right background, the right education.
We've been talking about the presidential election. But your party, despite the criticism that you had no structure, you had no representation in the National Assembly, ended up getting into the National Assembly. 6 seats in the Senate, 34 in the House of Representatives. I would like you to comment on that. And then second, this issue of INEC not allowing you access to inspect election materials. Now, Yusuf Tanko, the chief spokesperson of your party, has now served notice that INEC was duly served a CTC copy of the court order on March 3. INEC was reminded on March 6, and that the only option now available to the Labour Party is to picket to INEC offices nationwide in a peaceful protest, he says. But has it also occurred to the party to seek the option of going back to court
to make it clear to court that INEC is guilty of contempt, is contemptuous of the court order, or the only measure you want to adopt is that of the peaceful street protest to INEC officers. Those two issues.
Thank you, Dr. Abati. We'll apply both. Because you have a situation where you cannot even imagine. You know, INEC is an institution backed by law. The court have given an order, a ruling. They are not obeying it. Where do we start to build a nation? The most important ingredients of what makes a nation is the rule of law. And I said it when I was campaigning, that we must govern by rule of law. Ruben, the biggest contributor to the Western economy today, in terms of GDP, in terms of their growth, is intangible assets called rule of law. The reason why people want to live in America, in Britain, in anything, is not because things that happen here don't happen, but because if it happens, you can seek redress in court and it will be obeyed. It's because if you call police, it will nothing else. Nothing else. I have somebody who told me an interesting story. He said he had a wife in Nigeria, and he would shout at his wife, do whatever he likes, and then suddenly something happened and he went to the UK and he shouted and the wife called police, and police came and he was still shouting in front of police, and the police told him that he shouldn't come near one mile radius of his house because of the way he's behaving.
You didn't remind them that he paid dowry as a Nigerian.
He told me, said, all he wants is to go back to Nigeria with his wife. Why? It's law and order. And that's what we are lacking here. Ruben, we must live in a society that is organized. Today, with the way Nigeria is, considering how bad things are economically, what the world expected of us in 2023, there was so much expectation, is to have free, fair, and credible election where the new government will come to start. When you talk about low, people say low-hanging fruit. The number one low-hanging fruit here is to start governing by rule of law. If you start it, you start changing this country. And that I'm committed to. And I urge INEC to please help the country. The image of the country today has such importance in Committee of Nations is being put into question by all this rascality.
National Assembly elections. And how do you intend to leverage on
for
that?
Me, is I thank God that we're able to get the number of seats we received. I hosted the candidates after they received their certificate. I urge them to know that we are committed to a new Nigeria. And we must do things differently. We must support what is right. We must go there to work hard and everything. And I'm sure they will. We also said we have a retreat after this. Ruben, the things we need to do going forward for Labour Party, for them, we need to build a democratic institute that will be able to teach people what their job is all about and what they're expected to do. It is not just you've won the election. It is now time for you to be part of the confusion that exists, to make it transnational. We now want to leverage and talk. We're talking with different organizations, different countries that can help us to build a proper democratic institution that will teach our people, including me, what
governance is all about.
All right, great point. Now, I just want to ask, following that you received or you hosted the 40 Labour candidates who emerged winners for the National Assembly elections, so people have asked the question, or some of your critics have asked.
It's a long talk, okay? Like I said, you can go onto Arise Television and watch their full interview there. And then you can also go on Twitter and ask Peter Obi any question you want to ask, okay? No, they ask me, make I ask him. I'm playing you a replay video. You are typing, ask him, what rule of law did you follow? Ajani from Oshogbo is asking that, what rule of law did you follow when he was in Anambra? He's very active on Twitter. Trust me, follow them. They will give you your answer. Anyway, rule of law. I told you that people don't believe in the judiciary, Nigeria judges, okay? Among the institutions that have been so discredited by APC, Egbekegbe, and turned to paper tiger, yeah, have been the judiciary in Nigeria. Omoyele Sowore. Let's even take it back. It all started with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, where they have a state, a kind of a secret police. They are called SSS, officially, State Secret Service. But they are popularly known as DSS, Daura Secret Service. So they were very much on hand to carry out state-sanctioned kidnapping that they will first deny, then after a few days of rigorous torture of their victim, then they will now admit. And they won't call it kidnapping. They will call it invitation. But do you know that in Nigeria, the Daura Secret Service, DSS, they have judges on their payroll that can issue them any arrest warrant, even in the middle of the night, including weekends, to carry out all these sinister kidnappings for the state. They kidnapped the leader of the Shiites in 2015, El Zazaki. They kidnapped the leader of the IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, in December 2015. They kidnapped Omoyele Sowore in Lagos. They kidnapped, and they have, so these are people who have names, though. There are thousands of people that doesn't have, they are not as popular as all these names, that ended up in the dungeon of the Daura Secret Service based on the sanction or order of the asshole rock. Now, don't get confused, okay? The thing there is that a lot of people approached courts in Nigeria, and disappointingly, the state's armed kidnappers, which is the DSS, the only thing they do in their courts is to use conjectures, lies, and other things. Then they have lawyers who will always demand for an adjournment, because their purpose of kidnapping people is not to curb insecurity or anything at all. It is actually to keep away the people, Nigerians, they suspected to be a potential troublemaker. No matter how small or mighty you think you are. All they have to do is to put up something, kidnap you. If you go to court, then the court will say they should extend it extend it, and you can be there with them for 2 years, 3 years, even 5 years. This has been the state's operation policy in Nigeria, especially since APC Egbekegbe came in. So, if and then in so many cases, the courts would then order some judges who sum up courage to give right judgment. Most of their judgments are based on the fact that the state have no evidence against the people they are locking up. Imagine locking people up. Then you appear in court only to be telling court about social media posts and this or that, when you should be presenting hard evidence of what they have done actually on ground, but nothing. Imagine courts in Nigeria throwing cases out, treasonable, offensive post, criticizing government, all those ridiculous cases. When they finally meet the real judge, they got thrown out. And that's the modus of operation. All this while, they disobey court order at will. But now the obedient want to put the judiciary on trial. And I don't think the establishment want that to happen. Immediately after that broadcast or that chat, and so they called their lawyers. Oh yeah, come and check the equipment. Okay, send your lawyers. Come and check the beavers. So they send them in. Channels Television's clip. The credit for this as well is theirs.
Stand down from there. You just stand down when we come out, and they will call you when they want to come in. No problem.
So there's not much, okay? Probably we'll get details. When I get details, I'll share that with you, okay? But for that intro, from Channels Television to show them walked into the premises and all that, even though they believe that INEC, because tomorrow, on Tuesday, INEC is going to complete the reconfiguration of all of the 176,800 and something beavers machines. But do you know that by law, they said that you have to use the beavers as your card reader, your picture verification and other stuff, election result uploading tool, and all of that in one beavers, okay? So, if you want to then prove rigging or irregularity, it simply means that if you have more voters than the accredited voters, that result will be cancelled, okay? But let me tell you something. While the rest of you are battling with beavers, machine, no, they upload, and then they are thugs, INEC falsifying results, election returning officer running away, and all those drama you are facing in southern Nigeria, they were comfortably thumbprinting in northern Nigeria, even without beavers. Would you believe that as majority of you were disenfranchised in southern Nigeria from actually participating, right? Because your machine didn't work, the thugs chased you away. In northern Nigeria, where majority of them didn't even come out, so to say, yeah, they didn't come out. However, in northern Nigeria, they were just printing, giving them ballots, beavers, bow. So Obi would discover that there is nothing to back anything they put on that beavers in northern Nigeria. And that is why it is the most place they want to wipe out. And they've done it. They've done it. We just hope that all of you will believe that Obi will pull a surprise. Technologically, you will trace whatever they delete. But what you find there will shock you, because there will be no accreditation voters. There will be no number of this or that. There will be no machine verification. Everything is handwritten. And with INEC complicit, being part of, because I told you, nobody can do any rigging without INEC. Okay? INEC rig elections in Nigeria for the highest bidder, whoever pays more. And that is why they compartmentalize it. Okay? When you get to different states, they make different deals there. But at the same time, if the deal comes from the top, for whatever it is, how they spread the rigging and all of that, all of their EOs, electoral officers, they will receive the memo and they will be given the already prepared their result. They rig election. All the thugs that are carrying your ballot boxes, all those people, they are not actually the real rigging. They are disenfranchising you, which is part of rigging, right? But the real ones are those who actually write the figures. The criminals are in INEC, inside INEC. And guess what? For you to know that Nigeria is irredeemable. And when I say this with utmost sincerity. Okay? If it's otherwise, I will say otherwise. Nigeria is irredeemable. That as politicians are planning, plotting, and the rest of that, the citizens themselves who are going to serve in the whole electoral process, including those who will serve as delegates, they are actually those who would help them to achieve whatever the desire of that politician is. Now, the same people who are going to suffer in the ruined country, they are those who are going to serve as canvassers, campaigners, who are going to lie to their fellow people, who are going to oppress them. They are also the same people who are going to be recruited as electoral officers. So, are you with me? The same people who are suffering in that same system, they are those who are going to work as electoral officers. They are those who will receive those orders. They are those who will carry them out to the letter. You will see some of them sweating, fighting, all because of peanuts they have been promised. And with the little position they control, they ensure they comply. So when the whole result comes, bad leadership, everybody then suffers it. Then they will repeat the same thing again and again and again and again. So how do you redeem a country like that and say, Nigeria is redeemable? Don't say that again. I just told you why. It's irredeemable. It's not Tinubu that is changing the result of elections. You know that. It's not Tinubu that is changing, what do you call it? Chasing you out of the polling unit. People are doing them. People like you. People who are victims like you. Simply because somehow, they have been told if they don't do it, whatever they are benefiting from now, they're going to lose it. They're going to die. They're going to suffer so much. Even though they are suffering right now. Even though they are dying right now. But they will tell them, yeah, we know you are suffering. But guess what? You are going to suffer more if you don't defend if you don't defend us. So that's the point. Where do you start from? How do you explain it to every one of them? Imagine, the people that are being paid peanuts, who are also transferring that aggression on the people. You. In Lagos, for example, some of you know who are the LASMA. You know who are the LOMA. You know who are the LASTRA. They have all this LASTRA, SMASA, SOMASA in Lagos. These are the different, what do you call it? Different feeding bottle pipelines, okay, that the establishment like Kolu created, okay, to massage his fiefdom, the ego of his fiefdom, and say, I'm the Lord, landlord. Sure you get. But when you meet all these people who are actually doing this job, okay, because they are underpaid, poorly paid, and most of the time, right, they are on their own. If they should die or anything happen to them, incapacitated, a lot of them ended up even poorer, abandoned by the same people who said, Shebi, we gave you job. So to survive the hardship that the general economy has brought upon them, some of them can't pay their house rent. They can't pay their children school fees or what have you, or keep up the life, except they unleash their corruption on you, extort you, and most of the time even contribute to you dying. They have to go illegal way. Now they are now threatening them. If you don't protect Lagos, if another people come to Lagos, see, all of you will suffer. They are already suffering. Are they not suffering? People's mama, people's papa, who have been subjected to 24 years of misrule in Lagos alone, they have been intimidated. They have been threatened with one thing and one thing only. What they believe is their little benefit from saying, I am a Nigerian and I'm a Lagosian. If you are living in London, working in London, paying your tax in London, you are a Londoner. Therefore, you have access to the healthcare in London. You have access, your children will have access to the education facility in London. Yeah. You yourself, you have a say in what happened in London as a Londoner. But as a Lagosian, you have your survival, your survival tag. You wear them on your neck every day. How to survive police, how to survive LASMA, how to survive LASRA, how to survive this, how to survive that, how to survive EPO, how to survive Agbero, how to survive, because everybody is just looking for who to extort and who to make your life, whose life to make it miserable. Even people who are making your life miserable, they are working for other people behind the scene that are telling them, if you don't meet the quota, see other people are suffering, we'll bring them in. So how do you think they can turn them around? And you call it brainwashing them? No. They are not being brainwashed. They are being threatened for real. That little thing you have that you can call your own. Maybe you they do LASMA, even if we know they pay you good money. What about the money you are seeing on the road? Have you not seen Mr. Kolawole, the controller, the director of Ojota Axis, LASMA? He don't build 2 houses, one in Lagos, inside Kana for Ojota there, and he don't build another one for a village for Ekiti. But Mr. Lasisi or Mr. what have you right now is going to go about and say, we need to save Yoruba land. We need to save Lagos State. We need to save our people. Igbos are coming for us. Because he's been threatened. That means that, what you call it? If these people come now, you will not be able to take bribe again. You will not be able to do what you are doing, If we lose Lagos, you lose your source of income. So they threaten them. That's not loyalty. That's not leadership, is it? They are somebody's mama, somebody papa. Can they sing? They do video. Ewe ori jilaja. Ewe ori jilaja o. Eni abashe kò foríjì wá. Ewe ori jilaja. Ewe o egberin. Sorry if you don't understand Yoruba. That song was simply saying, we have plucked the leaf of forgiveness. That leaf of forgiveness, we are presenting that to everybody that we might have offended, that we might have done anything wrong to. as LASMA working for Lagos, whatever we have done to you that has made you so angry. So in their world, they know that the Yorubas who make up the largest population of Lagos, they are upset with them. They are pushing a narrative of Igbo this, Igbo that, but yet, behind the scene, they are telling themselves, something is wrong. People are angry with us. Something is not right. Now, this is the one in public. Before you saw these people dancing, if you know the amount of WhatsApp messages, if you know the amount of departmental messages that they are sending to these people in Lagos for working for Sanwoolu, they are threatening them. Your papa there, yeah?